What's up, guys? I hope you're all doing well, and thank you so much for popping into my review for the highly anticipated and eagerly awaited Disney's live action Snow White. This is directed by Mark Webb and stars Rachel Zegler as Snow White and Gal Gadot as the evil queen. And it takes the story of that original animated film and does many things with it. It adds to it and it changes it in certain aspects. Now, if we're talking about live action adaptations like Maleficent, what they did in that film is, it was not a Sleeping Beauty remake. It was a Maleficent film where she is friends with Aurora at the end of it. This is a different telling of this story. And what Mark Webb does and the screenwriters do is they take pieces from the animated tale and put them in a year after the film is finished because it didn't test well with audiences. Yes, that's right. There has been a lot of things going on behind the scenes of this film with some of the actors' comments in the past about the property and things like that. And now the film is finally here. And guess what? I liked it. I liked this movie. I don't think it's great. Maybe I'll have to watch it again and I will think it's great. I don't know. But I was so surprised. I would say shocked. And this movie actually threw me for a loop, and it threw me for the ringer because the first 10 minutes of this film for me are atrociously bad. And I think that has something to do with the song because a lot of the original music in this film is not great, and the songs they do use from the original are the highlights. But what I'm talking about here is the opening and the All Things Grow or Neat Things Grow, whatever the song is called. It's terrible. And I wanted to bash my brains out basically because it's such a cheesy rhythm and the way they're telling the story of Snow White, it's like really cheesy the first 10 minutes, and it wasn't very heartfelt. What they did in 2015 with Kenneth Branagh's Cinderella, in the first 10 to 15 minutes of that film, you get the prologue to see what happened to her parents. Guess what? In this film, you get that, but a cotton candy version of it with a really bad song where I was like patting my head against the wall. Every time they would say hi ho, I would bang my head on the wall every time they said ho. So like hi ho, hi ho. Like I was really. I stuck it out though. I watched it, and then the next scene happened, and you get introduced to Gal Gadot as the queen. And some people say that she's hamming it up. Guess what? I can tell she's hamming it up, but I like the performance. I think she's great in this film. Some people didn't like Chiwetel Ejiofor as Scar in the live-action 3D Lion King film. I didn't really like that casting. Here, I'm a fan of what Gal Gadot is doing. She's chewing up the scenery. She's got a song. She can sing. She can sing, but I do think that the song leads into a very pivotal moment, which I will say. So it worked and it didn't work at the same time. But after the first 10 minutes, the movie started to grow on me. And when it starts to pick pieces from the animated film, put her heart in the box, take the huntsman, and all that, that whole sequence, how the huntsman can't kill her and he casts her into the forest as she's running through the woods, that's really terrifying in the animated film. Guess what? They paid such a tribute with the hands and the leaves, the twigs grabbing her and everything. They paid such a tribute to that scene where I was like, wow, great job. And then the following scene where she sees the eyes and it's terrifying at first, but then it turns into this beautiful creature and all the animals come around. It was really enchanting and beautiful stuff when she finds the cottage. That's probably my favorite scene of the film. They did a great job with that scene. But you meet the dwarves, and they almost feel like they belong in a second film, a different film, because their story doesn't really matter, and they don't really matter, because there's just more characters and there's more story being told. It's to the point where the dwarf story doesn't feel as important as maybe it should, even though they do something completely different with Dopey. I mean, they give Dopey a character arc in this film. I don't know. It's kind of working on me. I'm not gonna lie. It was very jarring at first, but then I was like, okay, uh, why not? So I was into it by the end of the film when they were doing it Dopey. The score, I mean, the score is original and it's okay. They did not use a single tune from that original film, and I get why they didn't. I mean, it is the first one. Maybe they didn't even want to touch it. They said, "Look, we'll pull from the story, but I mean, we don't want to touch a lot of this because it is the first one and it's a classic." So they're doing their own thing, and I can respect that. With the trailers, I didn't really know what it was going to be. After seeing it, I was like, "Oh, this is its own story. This is its own thing being adapted from that film and story points to that film." So I don't think this is a great movie. Some of the songs I don't think are good. The only new song is the good song is Waiting on a Wish. In the end of the day, I was really torn on this going in. The first 10 minutes, I thought I was going to leave. And then the movie continued, and this original story and all this performances started taking place. And I was like, you know what? I can dig it. Now I feel like there's people that are going to be like, "Oh, the bandits in the film, they could have been cut." Yeah, they absolutely could have been cut. The dwarves could have been cut. The bandits could have been cut. It seems like maybe the bandits were the original version of the dwarves before they had to go in and put dwarves in the film and into the story. Who knows? But in the end of the day, the movie, I can't even say pays tribute to that animated film because it's an adaptation of that film. It is a different thing. You know how the live action Lion King was basically a shot for shot remake of that original movie, just with worse voice acting? This is the complete opposite of that. This is not a shot for shot. They pull imagery and they pull things and sequences, but I mean, they give it a real fleshed out story that I really appreciated. So I'm giving Snow White 3.5 out of 5 stars. I think if I think about it a little longer, I'd probably get it to 4. And off the top of my head, it is probably one of the better live action remakes, with Cinderella and The Little Mermaid being 1 and 2, and Snow White and Aladdin being 4 and 5. I don't know how I'd rank them, but I think that's where I'm at with all that. So, guys, that's my thoughts on Snow White. Comment down below, do you plan on seeing the film? Does this review shock you? I mean, a lot of the reactions that have been coming out for this movie have been extremely positive. So I think this movie could be a surprise hit if the audience continues to spread the good word. We'll have to see what happens there. Guys, you could hit that subscribe button for a bunch of reviews coming in the future, including a review for the Alto Knight, or an Alto Knights coming very soon, and the two behind me, the Minecraft movie, and Star Wars Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith, 20th anniversary. You guys, you can follow me on Twitter and or X at RyanKing72 and Instagram and TikTok at Kingdom Rises 131. That's been it for me. Thank you so much for watching my review for Disney's Snow White. And until next time, over and out.